Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And you guessed it. That's right. Yet another amazing guest this morning, my friends, all the way from Texas. A gym owner is going digital. Okay. Never done anything online before and took our 15-day challenge back in, let's see here. When did she take it? Back in sometime in 2023. We'll figure that out here in just a moment. I think mid-August. Um, Took her time and has launched and is seeing results through creating content videos where she's talking in them, showing more of her personality, finding more of her voice, uh, you know, figuring out they create more conversions even if there's less views. And that's one of the powerful things to remember is that views and having the biggest numbers in terms of followers, views, even leads does not always equate to conversions and earnings. And so we'll talk a little bit about that today, amongst other things. Nikki, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. Where in Texas are you calling in from?
Houston.
Houston in the house, H-Town.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you're also a busy mom of how many kids?
4.
4. Wow. How do you even find time to do any of this? We'll talk
Uh,
about that, right? You'll
no.
reveal your secrets?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much just so my kids are 7, 6, 3, and 1. So I got
Wow.
elementary, one in preschool a couple days a week, one at home with me.
Mm.
So it's a little crazy. I'm used to the chaos and the craziness. So I'm used to being multitasking and all of that. So that has definitely helped me in prioritizing and organizing and things like that to make this work.
Yeah. So what motivated you to want to do something, online in the first place? And tell us a little bit about what else you either do now or did before this.
Yeah, so I currently am a manager of a gymnastics facility, and there's like Ninja Warrior summer camps, all that stuff, and
Mhm.
it's actually a family business, and I've been doing that for over 10 years. Pretty much shortly after college, I did a little bit of the corporate world for like a year or so, and then I left to help with this because of the idea of flexibility, because I could work from home during the day doing all the behind the scenes, accounting, payroll, all of that, and then go in the evenings. And my husband's a teacher, so it was like a perfect swap. We were thinking long term when we had kids, this would work so we wouldn't have to get like a daycare full time and I could still be a mom with them. But what has happened now that my oldest 2 are in elementary school is I don't see them barely anymore because our whole business revolves around the evenings when the kids are out of school, because it's for kid based. So basically, I found that they were coming home from school and I was at work before they got home. And then when I got home, they were asleep before I got home. So although it was a good situation, when they were in the preschool toddler age, it kind of became something that was just making me sad that I didn't get to see them anymore. And so I was trying to actually I wasn't trying to quit my job or anything. I was more so just looking for extra money so that I could afford to put them in a school where I could basically homeschool them 3 days a week and they go in like 2 days a week. It's like a university model school. And
Mhm.
so, because I still had to work during the day, I couldn't homeschool them full time. And so I just thought it was a perfect solution, but I needed a little bit more money to make that happen. And so essentially, I was looking for a way to pay to spend time with my kids. But that's kind of how I came across it on social media. I wasn't like actively Google searching, how do I make money online? I guess, they just hear you talk, they hear your mind, the internet just knows. And so that's kind of, I guess, how it happened.
Creepy.
No.
Very creepy, the internet. Well, that makes perfect sense. And what was it like for you? I mean, to start learning these, skills, enroll in our 15-day challenge. I mean, from what I can see, you've kind of gone all in on this, purchasing more of our education, enrolling in our blueprints. I mean, what was that like for you to go through just, making the decision to go through the challenge and begin to be exposed to these concepts that may have been very foreign for you? What did you have to battle and overcome internally, and kind of what was that experience like?
Yeah. I mean, I think the main thing was just trying to, I always like learning new things. I always kind of have been the type of person that likes a challenge. I don't like to just stay stagnant. I like to figure out, like, what's my next goal? What's this? Obviously being a mother for the last 7 years, it's kept me busy. So I've kind of, it slowed me down with, being that more goal oriented person. But yeah, it was just the idea of, like, can I actually do this and succeed? Because I'm the kind of person, I don't like to, like, waste my time doing something if I'm not going to follow through with it, which, in hindsight is silly, because it's like, how would I ever know if I'm going to succeed if I don't try? So,
Mm,
thinking back now, knowing what I know, it was a goofy thought, but I guess that kind of goes with the limiting beliefs. But I definitely wanted to learn the whole online world, and it was very intriguing to me when I first, like, heard about it. So I was like, let's look into this more and see what it's about.
yeah. So you said that you had enrolled in our challenge in August, but didn't finish the trainings and start posting until October. Was that because you were going through the blueprints and kind of taking your education a step further? Was it because there was some hesitancy to actually get started marketing and posting content online? What was
Yeah.
that kind of time frame?
Um,
What was going on then?
So really, I took so once I saw and, like, signed up for the $7 course, I was, like, all in. Like, I basically did it in a weird way, where, like, I, like, had learned through social media about the blueprints and stuff before I even started the $7 course. So, as silly as it sounds, I didn't want to start the course unless I knew I was going to get the blueprints and be able to afford them, and then follow through 1000%. So, but once I started in August, it was just time going through all the blueprints, taking notes, rewatching videos, kind of organizing things, because I really didn't have a lot of time to do it. So I just took a little bit of time each night, either on my drive to work, I would listen to the trainings. And then also when I got home at night for a few hours until I had to go to bed, to start it all over. So I kind of, like, just took my time over the months of, like, September and October doing the blueprints. And then also, of course, setting everything up. Once I finished the blueprints. And then I finally got to the point where it was, like, the very end of October, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could spend another 2 months, like, getting all prepared and making everything perfect. But I told
Mm,
myself, hey, like, I'm posting on Monday, like, kind of like when you started, I, like, okay, there's always some new excuse, like, oh, I'm gonna wait till after this vacation or whatever. And it was kind of, that was the kind of mindset I was putting myself, like, well, I'm gonna wait until I get this set up. And then finally I was like, okay, enough is enough. I'm gonna just do it. And I told myself, on that Monday, that last, I think it was basically November, that I was going to just go ahead and launch. Who cares, whatever's ready, and figure it out as I go.
yeah. Well, I want to encourage everybody. That's incredible. And that's nice that you knew that and had been, doing your due diligence, or, whatever you had done to find out that we did have other programs, specifically the blueprints. I want to encourage everyone, though, if you want to learn online marketing and you're listening to this right now, whether you can afford to enroll in our higher education or not, to go through the challenge, to listen to these Wake Up Legendaries. Start there, see what you can get from it. If you have the finances and the ability to be able to enroll in our higher education, we stand fully behind that. I also do want to speak just for a quick second to those of you who feel like you can't get started because you can enroll in the blueprints. You might be surprised what you can do by just trying, by just going through and soaking up the information. We're always adding to the challenge. We're always looking at how we can make all of our programs more powerful, more complete, and not to mention these over 950 episodes of Wake Up Legendary that you can listen to. Had you, Nikki, listened to any of these episodes, this show at all? And if so, how did that impact you?
Yeah, I definitely listened to pretty much all the shows that I could. That was something that was easy. I didn't really have to take a lot of notes. I mean, I could, but it's something I listened to pretty much every day on my way to work and on my way back from work. So it was honestly very powerful. I feel like honestly the wake up legendary like interviews and shows were one of the main reasons that kind of led me to like go all in, because it really like showcases, you know, regular everyday people like doing this and being successful. Because like when you see online, like you've always said, it's like a snapshot of like your, you know, Instagram reels of, you know, more of the famous or whatever, you know, well known. And so like when you go on and you see, you know, everyday people doing it too, you're like, okay, why can't I not do that too?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm glad that was what, spoke to you, was hearing the stories of just kind of like we're doing right now. I mean, there's actually there's nothing even special about me. I'm sitting in a home right now, my home, streaming this, I mean, there's no big production team here. I've spun my computer around a few times over the last couple of weeks, just showing everybody, behind the scenes of my little setup here. And I certainly have more years of experience, which those years of experience have taught me that I don't need to trip out on anything. I don't need to freak out on anything. I don't need to base my entire marketing career on one event or one day or one video. So as you started to market and start, putting yourself out there and posting videos, what was that like? And what were some of the things that were really exciting about that for you? What were some of the things that were challenging and difficult about that for you?
I would say in the beginning, I actually had a lot of fun with it. Surprisingly, I didn't overthink it like I thought I was going to, because I was just
Wow.
learning social media.
Like you thought you were going to, isn't that amazing when we
Yeah.
surprise ourselves and have a positive experience even when we think we were going to. Don't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to highlight that because, we oftentimes will surprise ourselves and have a positive experience when we think we're going to have a negative one.
Right. Yeah. And that was the thing, is like, I just kind of was like, oh, this is what I got to do. Okay. Let me do this idea. I would see something. I kind of like to go the humor route and try to resonate that way. And then I started trying the talking videos and just B-roll videos that was easier for me to make, because then I could just quickly film myself while I was doing my other mom tasks and house duties. And so I found that easier. But yeah, in the beginning, it was actually not bad as far as creating content. It's just, as it's almost like I started overthinking it as I got further into it. When in the beginning, since I didn't know any better, I was just kind of like going with the flow, throwing whatever out there, not knowing if it was gonna work or not, you know. And then as I started
Mm.
to strategize, it was like, okay, what's going on here? So it's just kind of like trying to find that happy medium between having a strategy, but then also kind of just going with your normal kind of personality and flow.
I call that ignorance on fire at the beginning, right? When
Yeah.
we when we know when we know very little about anything, we kind of just it's sort of like when we're babies or toddlers. We have no fear. We see no barriers or boundaries. We're just sort of ignorant to all of the, the risk or the judgment or
Right.
the rejection, that we later start to develop a complex about.
Right.
And I feel like the same thing happens with at the beginning when we're starting a business or launching or starting to post videos online. So what are some of the, how are you dealing with that overthinking now, that comparisonitis, whatever it was that was popping up for you, that was kind of, as when that ignorance on fire started to kind of wear off those first month or two, what are you doing to overcome that overthinking and that overanalyzing, which we all know can lead to feelings of kind of, feeling frozen or paralyzed?
Yeah. I definitely catch myself in those holes sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, but really just keeping my eyes on the prize. I mean, that's the best way I can say it. That's kind of what got me started to jump in to begin with, just like over my fears initially was just like, just go for it because I wanted to have a change in my life. I've always kind of had that like business kind of mind because I grew up, in a family who, owned businesses. And so like, but I never like had anything, even though like in the manager position, I basically ran the business as an owner in a way, behind the scenes, even though I wasn't an owner, but like doing everything from scratch. So like I wanted to have that for myself. Like I wanted to have something I could say like, hey, I did this 1000% like from the bottom up myself. And that's kind of was like my eyes on the prize thing. Like I was like, get over it, focus on you. Who cares what anyone else is doing or succeeding or not succeeding? I remember there would be times in the beginning when, I mean, I literally would have like, I don't know, maybe 100 something posts and like 30 followers. And I see people now who have like, like 15 posts and they have like 200 followers and they're like, oh, how come I don't have 1,000 followers? I'm like, I literally had like barely any followers and over 100 something posts. And I just laser focused and kept going. And then that's when I started to kind of see results like after the fact. I wasn't really paying attention to the noise at the time. And that's what helps me because when I do pay attention to the noise, that's when I go down a pigeonhole and it just wastes time, honestly.
This is, my friends, pay attention to this. This is so relatable for me as well. When I am paying attention to what other people are doing, I am my least powerful self. I am the most ineffective. I am completely derailed from my mission, my focus, my vision, my best self, my potential. When I am not paying attention to what other people are doing, posting, saying out there on the internet, the trends, even when I am not paying attention to the trends, it is night and day in terms of my confidence
Hmm.
because I'm in my own, I am literally like a horse with blinders on. I don't see anything except what's in front of me, which is my vision, where I'm going, what I'm up to, what I'm building, what I'm creating.
Right.
And when I have those blinders off and I'm paying attention, in this case, I'm spending too much time scrolling social media, looking at what other people are doing, getting caught up in what's hot, what's not, what's working still, what's not working. Now all of a sudden somebody might say, well, this isn't working anymore. This is dead. But people have been saying that for 13 years on the internet, that certain things are dead. And
Mhm.
I've actually, when I practice them and put them into play, I realized they weren't dead at all.
Mhm.
They were just dead for that person, or maybe that person was saying that they were dead because they were trying to sell something else.
Mhm.
So I have to be real careful about who I listen to out there and who I'm watching and who I'm following. I think that's a huge nugget for people who are listening at the beginning, to really stay focused on, even if it feels like it's not working, see it through. And you had mentioned that earlier in the conversation. I wanted to make sure that I did something, started this, and was going to follow through with it. I believe that also applies to when we're testing something out here in our business. Do you agree with that? Seeing it through, following through with a particular type of content. I mean, do you have any examples that you can think of, that of something that you almost stopped doing, but you didn't, or you kept tweaking it just 2 millimeters, and then eventually it was like, damn, this actually works.
Yeah, I would say definitely like for me it was the talking videos
The
because
talking videos.
yeah, when I did like I mean some of the other short form gets, like you said, more views, more likes, things like that. But I remember kind of what got me interested to actually move forward and not just watch. And it was talking videos where I could be like, oh, there's a real human. Yeah, you get the informational stuff from the quick 7 second videos, but when I actually could hear someone talk and hear about their life and hear about, whatever their struggles or whatever, just their personality, I was like, oh, they're kind of like me. And then that made me think like, well, then I can do it because they're like me and I related to them. And so I would try to tweak those and kind of get better at those. And I'm still, of course, sometimes when I'm behind, I get behind what I'm wanting to do. But that's definitely something I want to start incorporating even more, because I see that those are the lowest views, but they are the ones that get the most inquiries and people asking about it and things like that. So,
Now, I said that at the beginning of the show before I even brought you out, that oftentimes views, um, followers, even leads don't particularly equal sales. Is that your experience as well? And I have always liked to say that you can build a big business from a small audience
mhm.
if you know how to nurture and really build relationships. A lot of that also comes from utilizing all of your different channels of communication. In this case, it would be not just relying on social media, but really focusing on list building and emailing your list on a daily basis. Are
Mhm.
you doing those multiple touch points, and is that one of the things that's helping you to make more money from a small following?
Yeah, I mean, so as far as the email list, I have that going. It's something that I'm wanting to, like, it's on my list as well, that I want to continue to expand on. So as I grow and as I, am able to just, it's like you have the everyday tasks that you need to get done, that you want to get done. And then on top of that, I have like in my head all of these things that I want to slowly build into my business, because I feel like I just know how I am, and if I go all in at once, like, I'm just not going to be good at anything. So I'm trying to get really good at this, as I slowly work in, continuing to add to my email marketing, eventually adding digital products and things like that. So I'm kind of just trying to stay focused on what I have. But yeah, definitely using the email marketing and putting in my story, and that has been helpful, I think.
Yeah. So what have you learned about yourself through this process that's been enlightening and empowering for you?
Um, just that, like, I mean, I guess I'm like capable of doing things that, I know everyone says this, but you don't really believe it for yourself until you are doing it. And I think that's why it's so important to just go for it, because it's so easy to just continue to watch people for months and months and be like, well, that's them, that's them. And but still in the back of your mind think that you can't do it. And
Yeah.
it's just being able to have goals and dreams, because it's like you always feel like, okay, this is the life that I have, like, accept it, kind of thing, and it's just like, that's just not true. Like, you can actually be like, no, this is what I want, and I can take steps to go for it, but you have to take the steps. You can't just say, this is what I want. Like, I hear people all the time, they're like, oh, I want land, and I want this, and it's like, okay, but like, what are you doing to like go for that, and so, like, me, it was almost different. It was like I was just accepting the fact, like, okay, this is, I almost like wouldn't set goals for I mean, I wouldn't set big goals for myself. Let me put it that way. Like, I would put goals for myself, like, hey, I want to do this half marathon, I want to do this for my kids, I want them to go through this route and accomplish that. But it wasn't like I want to have these big, family dreams of, not making all this money or having freedom and more time and things like that. I just kind of accepted the reality.
Yeah. Well, I think that's very built into our society. And I think that's why so often um, we are, we look at opportunity as a scam, you know,
Right.
because it's like, I've, I've seen that happen in so many different verticals or industries, that something is presented and people are just so skeptical. And it's either that it's a scam, or they're so skeptical about it that they don't listen, or they just lack the confidence that I can actually make that a reality for me. It might be possible for somebody else, but it's not going to be possible for me. And you know, I think that's a systemic thing that is kind of built in to us from early childhood, when we are sort of, you know, we we just take on this message of just, and we are delivered this message over and over again of, get good grades, go to school, stay in line, don't speak up too much. Where are you going to go to college? What do you want to be when you grow up? And
Mhm.
that's usually like a firefighter or it's all jobs,
Yeah.
right? It's all working for somebody. It's not the we don't teach entrepreneurship or business ownership in school. I don't even, to be quite frank with you, and this would take some incredible, you want to talk about due diligence, and something that's interesting is how in the hell did our country get built in the way that it did to be the greatest economy, the most powerful economy with the strongest businesses in the world? But there is no mention of business ownership or
Mm.
entrepreneurship in any public school
Right.
that I was ever in. Not a single class, not a
Yeah.
single classroom. And I have to also disclose that I was a ninth grade dropout. So it's not like I went all the way through high school. But I mean, I've done 950 interviews plus here. I've been in this industry for 10 years before I started doing this podcast. I have never heard somebody say, yeah, I was well aware of entrepreneurship and business ownership and the
Yeah.
idea of financial freedom and all of this, way before I started doing this and started reading books, started getting into personal success and personal development. I mean, so I think for all of us, we have to realize that we were sort of programmed, all of us together, to just be factory workers.
Hmm.
Maybe a lot of this happened back in the industrial era, or when we were in multiple wars and we needed people to really just kind of do fall in line and be factory workers. But the truth is that we were all sort of programmed that way. And so how do you change that dynamic in your family, and how have you overcome that in your with your friends and family circle who all might also think that way? How have you navigated that?
Yeah. Well, as far as my kids, I think I'm kind of starting to take a step in that direction, hopefully being able to homeschool them part time, maybe eventually full time, just so that they can, learn from, my husband and I and our close circle, like, hey, what's important in life, what really matters, kind of us be their teachers, not just essentially the government teaching them what they want to impose on them and stuff like that. And so I just think that will be helpful, just being able to teach them those things. And I mean, my family is very, and friends, they know that, I've grown up in like a family business and kind of that environment. So they're very, understanding. I mean, they're very much like have that thought process of like, like, yeah, you own your own business so that you can, have freedom. But, the thing is, I don't think, they ever realized, like we ever realized, myself included, that like you could own your own online business. Because like with a brick and mortar, with what I do now, it's like, yeah, there is some flexibility in, being a manager or an owner or whatever, because you're in charge. You can not show up if you don't want to. But the problem with that is if you don't show up, everything crumbles. I mean, it's like it's so
Mhm.
hard for me to take a week off or even a day off of work. I don't want to take off because it will make my life so much harder cleaning up all the messes of, when I was gone, than it is to just show up. And so
Mhm.
it's like, there's pros and cons to entrepreneurship. And so, but the amazing thing, just after discovering that you can make money online and actually have a legit business and a career out of it, is just so many possibilities are like going off, just of like what I can create for my future, that I don't, even if I can, we continue to run that business on the side, I can still have this thing that's my own, where, I'm creating something where I can have time, freedom in myself, because everything is with my phone.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that, and I love that you have the experience that you have and the contrast between the two businesses. You had mentioned digital products a few minutes ago. What is your plans? What do you see as possible? What niches or topics do you have the desire in the future to build digital products around?
So right now, my goal is to continue into the wealth niche and try to create some digital products entirely in that. And then like long term, when I do have more time, I would like to probably go into the parenting niche.
Mm.
Just that's something that would come easy for me as well and more natural. Or organizing. I like to organize and things like that. So those are a couple of my ideas, but right now I'm trying to go all in, and I still want to create digital products in the wealth niche.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Did you ever feel that you could, did you either feel qualified, see it as a possibility, um, to be able to create a product and be a educator, a teacher, an expert, if you will, or viewed as an expert in something like, take for example, the parenting niche or the organization niche, or what was it that tipped the scales for you that made you realize that you too, even though not a, you know, who has the qualification of an expert parent, who has the qualification of an expert organizer, maybe their certificates or degrees, but I'm not aware of it. What built that confidence or that belief or tipped the scales for you to make you to realize that, wow, I could actually create a course and teach people on these topics?
Yeah. What's crazy is I didn't even realize that as much of a thing when I first learned about the course, because it was more of the affiliate marketing focus. But then once I dove into the course and the blueprints and started seeing more of it, I realized like, yeah, that is something that is definitely I could do. Because, like you said, it just takes having the idea and the passion, and then creating it on the back end, putting in the work in the beginning, and then being able to follow through with it. Honestly, when I follow people online, I've bought so many things from like random mom accounts myself. Like books from homeschooling, this and that. And so I know it works because it worked on me. And so
Yeah.
thing is, I didn't even like look up these people's qualifications. I just saw what they put out there. Like to me, it's like a title's just a title. Anyone can say, "Oh, I'm a XYZ expert," but like what you produce and what you put out there is what matters to me, is like your action. So if I see a video and I'm like, "Oh, that's legit. Like she knows what she's doing," then
Totally.
oh, I want to buy that. I'm not like sold on something just based on the line that someone puts there. I'm just like, to me, whatever I see is what I believe in and fall into.
Yeah. Huge, because nowadays what sells is exactly what we're teaching and doing here in this community, which is has nothing to do with you having a PhD or degrees or certifications. If you can put out a piece of content that is helpful, if you can show people that you can help them by actually helping them in a video, they will be interested in watching more videos from you, or even potentially buying something that you recommend, whether that be somebody else's product or whether that be a course of your own.
Mhm.
Again, let me say this loud and clear so everybody hears it. Nikki, you just nailed it. The thing that sells people in 2024 is if they're on Instagram and they're scrolling, they may have never seen you, heard of you, didn't know you from Adam, but if they watch a video and you show them that you can help them by actually helping them with a valuable piece of knowledge or something that's educational, or Nikki, as you said, wow, that's helpful. That's really interesting. That was very enlightening. Somebody will instantly, they might follow you at first. They might go up, click your bio link, follow into your recommendations. They'll take your call to action. Hey, follow me for more tips, or hey, if you want my free guide, download it in the link above. You instantly have somebody's attention.
Mhm.
And that's all we can ask for. That's all any business asks for, is just your attention. Even the bourbon chicken guy who's handing out, samples of bourbon chicken in the mall, is all they want is your attention for 3 seconds, right? when you're walking down the mall and the people are trying to get you to come over and clean your shoes or, do your hair or whatever, all they want is your attention for 3 to 5 seconds.
Yep.
And if you can show them, it's sort of like the guy, I don't know if you've ever seen him online. He has the cleaning solution and he goes and knocks on people's doors and he's got all these funny things that he says. And I mean, he's like the world's best salesman. He calls himself, but all he's trying to do is get somebody's attention for like 5 seconds. And if he does, and he can go into his kind of presentation where he shows you that the cleaning solution will clean the crap out of anything that you have, that's what sells. He just wants to demonstrate that he can help you by actually doing a demo and helping you. And that's what sells in 2024. And I think, friends, that's what we have to do, is get out of our own way and realize that our qualifications, our looks, our voice, how tall, short, pretty, skinny, fat, any of the things, none of that matters. But if in a short video, you can demonstrate that you can help somebody by actually helping them, by giving them something that's educational, entertaining, or both, better if it's both, you have their attention. And now you have an opportunity to give them a recommendation, get a follow, generate a lead, etc. What's coming up for you? Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's so true. It's like when you go to record, it's like in the beginning, you're like, oh, I gotta redo this, redo that, whatever. Or, oh, why am I wearing this? Or I look silly, my hair's flying up. But then it's like, I think about when I watch people's videos and like I am trying to get information or a laugh or whatever I'm trying to get out of it. I don't even pay attention to any of that extra stuff, like what someone looks like, or if, like you said, they're old, young, whatever. It's just like whatever they're putting out there, if it's going to make me laugh or be helpful to me, I don't care who you are. I just want me. Like, people are like, me. What's going to help me? Like, they don't care about you, but you think they're thinking about you, but they're not. And it's just so funny because we still do that. But anyways.
It's so true. Me. I mean, that's human nature. It's just so true. We get so caught up in thinking that people are like judging our every nose hair or eyelash, or if you got something in your teeth, or what t-shirt you're wearing. I mean, people could care less. They could care less what iPhone you're shooting on, how perfect your audio is, how crystal clear your videos are. If the damn thing's entertaining or educational, name the type of shirt or the color shirt your favorite content creator had on in the last video you watched.
Exactly. I don't know.
Name it, right? Yeah. Name it.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't remember. We can't remember because that's not what's important to us. And I think that, the sooner we all realize that. I remember when I first came online, I saw certain guys that I thought I needed to be, my own form of comparisonitis. And I was like, oh, I gotta, comb my hair and do a perfect part just like these guys and, look just like them. And it's like, I mean, I only felt less of myself, so I had less of my own energy, and it came across as less authentic, and it just flopped. And so, the ultimate goal is to try to get more comfortable in our own skin so we can perform more and be more of ourselves. And getting comfortable on video, friends, is not something that is video is not going away. Even as this augmented and virtual reality stuff comes out, where in a few years we're going to be visiting with our family, sitting down, having dinner with friends in a virtual, I mean, I don't know where we're going with all this stuff. I really don't, but they're already starting to show us, where you're got your little virtual reality person and you're, walking into a room and you're having meetings with people and all this kind of stuff. I mean, this stuff's not going away. It's being on video is not going away. And talk about the leverage that you have to be able to do business on video from your home versus have to go into an office or a location and do it. It's just, talk about leverage. It's the ultimate leverage.
I mean, it's so nice because it's like I can do it whenever I want. And then I just take the 2 seconds when I need to post. Like right now, I have to work around my kid's schedule and when I have a few hours to batch. So like on Tuesdays and Thursdays today, my 3 out of my 4 are in school. So when my youngest is napping, that's when I get my work for my regular job done and my content batching done. So
Oh, snap. We just lost her. Oh, here she is.
okay, so
Hey.
it's like if I have something that I can do while my kid is eating or walking around the house, like responding to an email, that. But then I save my content batching where I have, my camera and all that, where I know my kid's gonna knock it over if he's up. Then I do all of that. So I strategically plan my tasks based on what can get done with the kid around in the background and what can get done what needs to get done while my kid is napping, and I have 1.5 hours to myself. And
Yeah.
so been very strategic with that in order to get things done efficiently. But yeah, it's just been so nice because even when you're out on vacation or with family, you have all your stuff 2 clicks from your phone and you've done it at your convenience. You don't have to be there to be there, which is really nice.
So speaking of the, fitting things into your schedule, you had mentioned in your questionnaire that we asked you when we invited you onto the show that what's working well for you right now is the different ways that you're holding yourself accountable and to make it more manageable to do as a busy working mom. You had just kind of alluded to that a moment ago. What else are you doing? What other little Nikki hacks do you have that are working for you to make this work for you inside of your already obviously very busy life?
Yeah. So basically it took me a while to get a rhythm, but I finally figured it out. So basically what I'll do is I on Saturday and Sunday, my like weekends, just to feel like I'm not working as much, I will mainly because by the time the kids get to bed, of course, like my husband and I want to spend some quality time together as well. But usually it ends up being a movie where he's watching TV and falling asleep and I'm on my phone scrolling. I basically make
Us guys, we're
Yeah, he's really bad about that. He's like, "Let's watch this movie." I was like, "What does it matter what movie we're gonna watch? You're gonna fall asleep in 2 seconds, anyways." Um, I know moms can relate to this.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. So since I know he's gonna fall asleep, but he wants that quality time, I will.
I'm sorry. You're funny.
No, so true. So like on the weekends when I'm spending quality time with him watching a movie, I save those times for like my phone scrolling, like getting content inspiration. So I'm not like mindlessly scrolling, but I am getting ideas and I'm writing things down and I'm kind of configuring that because that's something I can do while I'm watching a show with him and still working and not being completely unproductive. So weekends are for like content ideas and inspiration and stuff like that. And then I used to stay up late till like midnight every day, but then my husband was like, "You never come to bed." And I'm like, "Okay." So now I wake up at 5 with him because he wakes up early. So I wake up at 5 with him and I started doing that, which has been a nice thing. I'm still adjusting.
Mm.
And I get like an hour and a half work done. And usually, like I said, since I content batch on Tuesdays and Thursdays when my kids are napping or when my kid is napping and the other ones are in school, I will save all my other like morning or late nights for like editing, basically editing and captions and things like that, and emails and responding. Obviously, I try to respond to DMs and comments right away, but that's an easy thing. So, yeah, just kind of finding my rhythm. I set goals for myself each week with my planner on like, what I want to accomplish, just to kind of hold myself accountable too.
Yeah, I mean, God, man, you are just easygoing and just, making it work and fitting it in wherever you can. I admire that about you for real. Like there's no complaining. You just yeah, I mean, God, I feel like that's such a great quality in an entrepreneur, in a business owner, in a leader of people. Like you gotta not be like super critical of everybody around you. You gotta just for me, one of the leadership qualities that I've discovered and developed over the years is just being easygoing and trying to find the best in people, trying to find the strengths in people, trying to find the things that I appreciate, and then also working around them or with them within their strengths.
Mhm.
And not only in your business, but also in your marriage. You're so flexible and you're so willing to, um, spend the time for, even if, what's your husband's name?
Greg.
Even if Greg falls asleep, which I so love that you shared that, because so many of us can relate and the comments were popping off. But also just, then you're waking up early with him, and you're just you're willing to try things, you're willing to explore things, you're willing to meet people where they're at, you're willing to be easygoing. One of my early sponsors in recovery, who's kind of like a mentor, he said, you have to be flexible in life and in your recovery, Dave. um, if not, you become brittle, sort of like a rubber band that doesn't get used over time. It can become brittle, and then it breaks when you go to stretch it again. And you have to stay flexible, always staying malleable and flexible. And I just see that so much in you. And that's what obviously makes you such a great mom, a great wife, a great business manager, and now a great business owner. And I just want to validate you for that, because, not only are you funny and you're being successful with this, and you have a wonderful personality and a wonderful mindset. You just have some amazing qualities that I really admire, and I think that we all can learn from, just in terms of some of the things that you've described. And so, shout out to you for real. Like, keep up the amazing work. What
You.
advice would you leave people who are kind of feeling a little bit more, frustrated or rigid right now, or like they're in that phase to where it's not, the things aren't happening the way that they want or as fast as they want? Like, if you could go back and give yourself some advice when you started, what would you say?
Yeah. Honestly, I would just say, just have fun with it. Don't take yourself so seriously. I mean, life is just, it's just not serious. Like, it's just not supposed to be that way. Me and my husband are both like huge goofballs. Like, our kids don't stand a chance. But that's just kind of how we go about things in general. Even my family, like, I was brought up that way too.
Mm,
But yeah, I mean, just don't overanalyze things. And I say that I'm a hypocrite because I do that still. So that's something I'm working on. But I've gotten better, mainly because I'm like, I have that goal and I'm like, okay, I got to get this out. Like, am I going to reshoot it? Like, oh, oops, I just shot that whole video, spent 10 minutes doing that. And I realized I have a stain on my shirt. Oh, well, send. I got to go because the baby's about to wake up. So just kind of doing what you have to do to get it done without overthinking it. And just, yeah, keep your eyes on the prize, your why. I just want to be able to show my kids that they can do whatever they want to do, that they're not, stuck to a certain thing, that, they can dream big, and just to be able to spend time with them. And so that's what I always just keep coming back to. Like, I don't care if it takes me, yeah, in the beginning, maybe I had certain goals that I did or didn't reach, but it's like, it doesn't matter to me because I'm like, okay, what else would I be doing if I'm not doing this? I would still be
mm,
scrolling on the couch while he's still watching TV. The only difference is I'm
mm,
mindful of it. I'm thinking about what I'm looking at. It's like, I'm not giving up anything to do this. Like, I mean, I'm giving up maybe an hour or two a day, but like, I'm trying to think of what I did during that extra hour or two, anyways. And I really can't think of anything that I was doing extra. So obviously, it was just
wow.
love. So I don't care if it takes me longer. And I know it might take me longer to get to my big goals because I'm a mom and I'm still running a business and I'm still raising these four kids. And once they start homeschooling, Lord knows what's going to happen with that. So I'm aware of that, but I'm okay with it because I'm still taking the steps I need to get where I want to get someday. And I don't care if it's not tomorrow that that's happening, because if I'm not doing this, then I'm still here. Like, I'm never going to get there. So that's kind of my thought process, is just like, it's takes longer, at least I'm doing something to work towards it, even if however long it takes.
I don't think I've ever heard it put that way, so simply, so powerfully, in terms of how I'm spending my time anyways. Like, what else would I be doing? What was I doing before this? Am I just going to go back to doing that? Incredibly well said. That was like a sound bite. That was worth the whole price of admission, which, oh my God, this interview is free for everybody to listen to and soak up. So enjoy, my friends. Go back. This one's worth a re-listen. Nikki, thanks for your time today. Amazing, amazing interview. Thank you so much. Come back and see me if you would.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, Dave.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Well, I hope she definitely will, stays legendary, my friends. Really powerful. Thank you all for the amazing, yeah, she sure is, for sure. Thank you all for the great comments, supporting comments. As a mom of soon to be 3, this is so inspiring. Thank you, Nikki. Excellent show for sure. Great job today. Thank you both. Great interview. Being okay for it, the time it takes and it needs to take. Yes. Thank you, Nikki. Wow. I mean, really, really powerful words all throughout the show. Right there at the end was such a powerful perspective to, to see your journey through, which is, what was I doing before this? God, that was such an amazing soundbite from her. Thank you all for the amazing comments, the great support for our guest, for Nikki. Please go and find her and support her over at Live Free Affiliate Mama, all one word, over on Instagram. Such a powerful person, such a wonderful, wonderful example of what's possible, and the mindset that we all can, that we all need. I mean, really easygoing, not so rigid, flexible, having fun with it, not taking yourself too seriously. Self-awareness too. Look, I mean, knowing that I can be a little bit hypocritical, but still believing in the ideas of not overthinking and so forth, staying true to those values, even though I struggle with them. That's totally normal. You know what I mean? I mean, just because I struggle with something doesn't mean that's still not a value. That's still not something that I can value and do value. So just, wow. I can't say enough. Hey, Tammy, you're so welcome. They're what keeps me going too. I mean, these conversations are just the best. So, all right, my friends, thank you so much for the tenacity and grit is loaded up today. Awesome. She hit the nails on the head, no doubt. Absolutely valuable advice and information. I'm so glad you made it to this Wake Up Legendary as well, Gabby. Awesome info. I agree, Joyce. Very, very motivational. Totally honest and real, without a doubt. All right, my friends, we will see you back here tomorrow for another episode. If you want to get started with any of our programs, go to legendarymarketer.com/enroll. And if you want to get a text message reminder every time we go live on this here Facebook page at 10 a.m. Eastern time, live. This is not a recording. It is live. It is Tuesday, March 19th at 10:55. Okay. We are live right here, right now. I'm about to end this show live. Okay. So if you want to be here live with us, text WUL to 813-296-8553. Again, text the letters WUL to 813-296-8553. You'll be added to our little reminder list where we'll send a text message every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. You can click the link, hop over to the show. And we'll see you back here tomorrow for another episode. Get out of here. Have a great day. Stay legendary, my friends. Peace.